Before we start, this video is meant to help you recognize manipulation, not use it on people. If you ever feel trapped, controlled, unsafe, or like something is seriously wrong in a relationship, talk to someone you trust and get help if you need it. And honestly, the simplest rule is still the best one. Treat people how you would want to be treated. Number 10, guilt tripping. You probably thought saying no was supposed to be simple. Someone asks for something. You say no. Everyone respects it. Beautiful little fantasy. But then guilt tripping shows up. This is when someone tries to make you feel like a terrible person for having a boundary, a preference, or a normal human limit. They don't just ask you for a favor. They make it sound like your entire moral character depends on whether you say yes. Oh, wow. I guess I just thought you cared. After everything I've done for you, I would do it for you, but okay. That is not communication. That is emotional tax fraud. The whole trick is to move the conversation away from the actual request and into your feelings. Now you're no longer thinking, can I actually do this? You're thinking, am I a bad person if I don't? And that is exactly where they want you, because guilt makes people hurry. Guilt makes people explain too much. Guilt makes people say yes, just to make the uncomfortable feelings stop. The way to beat it is simple, but not always easy. Do not defend your entire soul. Return to the actual point. I understand you're upset, but I'm still not able to do that. That's it. No courtroom speech, no 20-minute explanation, no emotional PowerPoint proving you are still a good person. Because the more you over-explain, the more material they get to argue with. A boundary is not a debate club. Sometimes the strongest answer is calm, boring, and repeated. I can't do that. I'm not available. That doesn't work for me. Guilt trippers want you emotional. Beat them by becoming customer service. Polite, clear, impossible to drag into drama. Number 9, love bombing. You probably thought intense attention meant someone really liked you. And sometimes, sure, it does. But sometimes it's not romance, friendship, or loyalty. Sometimes it's a trap wearing perfume. Love bombing is when someone overwhelms you with attention, praise, gifts, affection, promises, or emotional intensity extremely fast. They barely know you, but somehow you are already their soulmate, their best friend, their favorite person, the only one who understands them, the missing piece of their life. You met them 12 minutes ago. Relax, Shakespeare. The creepy part is that love bombing feels good at first. That's why it works. It makes you feel special, chosen, important, seen. And when someone makes you feel that good that fast, your brain starts ignoring warning signs like it's getting paid to look away. Then later, once you're emotionally attached, the attention may disappear or become conditional. Suddenly, the affection you got for free in the beginning becomes something you have to earn. Now, you're chasing the early version of them, the version who texted constantly, praised you constantly, made you feel like the main character in a movie with suspicious lighting. The way to beat love bombing is to slow everything down. Time is the enemy of manipulation. Do not make big decisions during the emotional fireworks stage. Do not share everything immediately. Do not commit too fast. Do not confuse intensity with trust. Trust is built by consistent behavior over time, not by someone saying, I've never felt this way before they even know your middle name. A healthy person can handle a slower pace. A manipulator usually hates it, because speed is part of the trick. So when someone comes in too intense too fast, don't automatically run. But do take your foot off the gas. If it's real, it can survive patience. If it can't survive patience, it was probably a performance. Number 8, gaslighting. You probably thought a reality was something people could mostly agree on. You saw what happened. You heard what was said. You remember how it felt. Then a manipulative person shows up and says, that never happened. Or, you're remembering it wrong. Or, you're too sensitive. Or, you're crazy. Congratulations. Now you're not just dealing with the original problem. You're dealing with someone trying to make you distrust your own mind. That is gaslighting. Gaslighting is when someone repeatedly denies, twists, or minimizes reality until you start questioning your memory, judgment, or sanity. And it is especially powerful because most normal people are willing to self-reflect. A healthy person thinks, maybe I misunderstood. A gaslighter uses that against you. They take your ability to be fair and turn it into a weapon. The goal is not just to win an argument. The goal is to make you depend on their version of reality. So instead of thinking, they hurt me, you start thinking, maybe I'm impossible to deal with. That is the scary part. The way to beat gaslighting is to anchor yourself. Write things down. Keep screenshots. Save dates. Talk to trusted people outside the situation. And most importantly, stop trying to get honesty from someone committed to confusion. A gaslighter does not need more evidence. They are not confused. They're confusing you. So instead of saying, please admit what happened, say, I know what happened, and I'm making my decision based on that. That sentence is powerful because it removes their favorite playground. They want the conversation to be about whether reality is real. You make it about what you are going to do next, because you do not need someone to confess to the fire before you're allowed to leave the burning building. Number 7, the silent treatment. You probably thought silence was peaceful. Birds chirping, wind blowing, no one talking. Very relaxing. Until someone uses silence like a weapon. The silent treatment is when someone refuses to speak to you, respond to you, or acknowledge you as a way to punish, control, or make you chase them. It is not the same as taking space to cool down. Taking space sounds like, I need an hour to calm down, then we can talk. The silent treatment sounds like nothing. For hours, days, sometimes longer. And the whole point is to make you panic. You start thinking, what did I do? How do I fix this? Should I apologize? For what? Doesn't matter. Just make the silence stop. That is how the trap works. The person creates emotional discomfort, then waits for you to surrender just to get connection back. It's like holding the relationship hostage and demanding an apology as ransom. The way to beat it is not to chase forever. You can reach out once calmly. I can talk when you're ready to communicate respectfully. Then stop performing desperation. Do not send 14 paragraphs. Do not beg. Do not apologize for things you don't understand just to reopen the door. Because if silence gets rewarded, silence becomes the remote control. And now, anytime they dislike something, they can press mute and watch you scramble. A healthy person may need space. A manipulative person uses disappearance as punishment. Learn the difference. Space has a return time. Punishment has a power trip. Number 6, negging. You probably thought compliments were supposed to make you feel good. Then someone says something like, you're actually pretty smart for someone like you. Or, you'd be really attractive if you changed your hair. Or, I usually don't go for people like you, but you're different. That is not flirting. That is a compliment with a tiny knife inside. Negging is when someone gives you a backhanded compliment or subtle insult to lower your confidence and make you seek their approval. The trick is not to openly attack you. That would be too obvious. The trick is to make you feel just slightly insecure. Just enough that you want to prove yourself. Just enough that their approval starts feeling valuable. It's emotional pickpocketing. They insult you, but wrap it in enough charm that you wonder if you're overreacting. And that uncertainty is the whole point. They want you thinking, wait, was that rude? Or am I being sensitive? Meanwhile, they're standing there with a tiny emotional shovel, digging a hole under your self-esteem. The way to beat negging is to name it calmly, or refuse to play. You can say, that was a weird thing to say. Or, was that supposed to be a compliment? Or simply, I don't like comments like that. No nervous laugh. No proving yourself. No trying to win their approval. Because the moment you start auditioning for someone who insulted you, they've got the upper hand. Negging depends on insecurity. Confidence ruins it. If someone needs to make you feel smaller to feel interesting, they are not mysterious. They're just rude with better marketing. Number 5, moving the goalposts. You probably thought if you did what someone asked, they would be satisfied. Adorable. Moving the goalposts is when someone keeps changing what they want after you meet the original standard. You do the thing. Now they want more. You meet that requirement. Now suddenly there's a new problem. You apologize. Not good enough. You explain. Wrong tone. You fix the mistake. Too late. You give them what they requested. Now they say, well, you should have wanted to do it without me asking. At some point, you realize the goal was never the goal. The goal was keeping you in a permanent state of failing. This technique is exhausting because it makes you feel like peace is always one step away. You think, if I just do this one thing, everything will calm down. But it never does, because the finish line is on wheels. The way to beat it is to stop chasing unclear approval. Ask for specifics. What exactly are you asking for? What would actually resolve this? What is the standard? And if they keep changing it, name the pattern. I did what you asked, and now the requirement changed. I'm not going to keep chasing a moving target. That sentence matters, because manipulators love vague dissatisfaction. Vague dissatisfaction gives them unlimited power. They don't have to say what they want. They just keep saying, you're not doing enough. Make it concrete. If they can't define the goal, you can't be expected to score. And if they don't want a solution, they just want control. Number 4, playing the victim. You probably thought the person who caused the problem would be the one apologizing. Very optimistic. Playing the victim is when someone hurts you, crosses a line, creates chaos, and then somehow becomes the injured party when you react. You say, that hurt me. They say, wow, I guess I'm just a horrible person. You say, please don't speak to me like that. They say, so now I'm not allowed to say anything. You bring up a real issue, and suddenly you're comforting them. That is the magic trick. They flip the emotional spotlight. Now, the conversation is no longer about what they did. It is about how bad they feel after being confronted, which means you are now responsible for their guilt, their sadness, their embarrassment, and possibly the weather. This is especially hard to beat if you're empathetic, because you don't want people to feel bad. But a manipulator uses your empathy as a steering wheel. They drive the conversation away from accountability and into their feelings. The way to beat it is to validate briefly, then return to the issue. I'm not saying you're a horrible person. I'm saying this behavior hurt me. Or, we can talk about your feelings, but we're not skipping what happened. Do not get dragged into proving you don't hate them. That is the trap. They want you to abandon your point to rescue their self-image. You can care about someone's feelings without letting those feelings erase your boundary. Accountability is not cruelty. And if someone treats every correction like an attack, they are not being sensitive. They are being impossible to talk to. Number 3, triangulation. You probably thought a conversation between two people would involve two people. Silly you. Triangulation is when someone brings in a third person, real or imaginary, to pressure you, make you jealous, create competition, or make you doubt yourself. They say things like, everyone agrees with me. My friends think you're being dramatic. My ex never had a problem with this. Other people would be grateful. Even your brother said you're difficult. Notice how the mysterious crowd always agrees with them. Very convenient. Triangulation works because humans care about social approval. If you think everyone else sees you as the problem, you may back down, even when you're right. It also creates competition. In dating, they might mention other people who want them. In friendships, they might compare you to someone else. In families, they might pass messages between people instead of having direct conversations. It turns relationships into a messy emotional group chat where nobody knows who said what. The way to beat it is to refuse the third-party fog. Bring the conversation back to the two people actually involved. I'm not discussing what other people supposedly think. I'm talking to you about what happened between us. Or, if they have a concern, they can speak to me directly. That shuts down the imaginary jury. Because that's what triangulation creates. A fake courtroom where the manipulator is the judge, the witness, and somehow also the victim. Do not argue with invisible people. Do not defend yourself against mystery opinions. If someone says, everyone agrees, ask, who specifically? Watch how fast everyone becomes, well, just people. Ah yes, people, the most reliable source in manipulation history. Number 2, Darvo. You probably thought when you called someone out they had two choices, admit it or deny it, but manipulators have a more advanced package. Darvo stands for deny, attack, and reverse, victim and offender. It's a pattern where someone denies what they did, attacks you for bringing it up, and then flips the situation so they become the victim and you become the bad guy. You say, you lied to me. They say, I didn't lie. You're insane for accusing me. I can't believe you would treat me this way after everything I've done. Look at what just happened. First, deny. I didn't lie. Then attack. You're insane. Then reverse victim and offender. Actually, I'm the one being hurt here. It is a full emotional gymnastics routine, and somehow they expect applause. Darvo is powerful because it happens fast. You start with one clear concern. 30 seconds later, you're defending your tone, your memory, your loyalty, your personality, and your childhood. The original issue has vanished like a magician under legal pressure. The way to beat Darvo is to slow the conversation down and label the steps. We're not switching topics. I'm talking about the lie. Or, you can be upset, but that doesn't answer what I asked. Or, calling me names doesn't change the issue. Do not follow every attack. That's the trick. They throw 5 emotional tennis balls at you, and you exhaust yourself trying to catch all of them. Let them drop. Stay on the main point. What happened? What did you do? What are you going to change? Darvo wants chaos. Beat it with structure. Manipulators hate structure because it gives their nonsense fewer places to hide. Number 1, boundary testing. You probably thought when you said no, the conversation was over. But for some people, no is not an answer. It is a starting point. Boundary testing is when someone pushes small limits to see what you'll tolerate, then slowly pushes bigger ones. At first, it might seem tiny. They keep calling after you said you're busy. They make jokes you said you don't like. They borrow something without asking. They show up late every time. They pressure you after you already said no. Each little push teaches them something. Will you correct them? Will you let it slide? Will you apologize for being uncomfortable? Will you enforce the boundary or just announce it? Because that is the difference. A boundary without a consequence is just a suggestion in a serious voice. Manipulators often don't start with the biggest violation. They start with a test. Something small enough that you feel dramatic for reacting. And that's how they win. They make your self-respect feel rude. The way to beat boundary testing is to act early. Do not wait until the 10th violation to prove you're serious. Say the boundary clearly. If you keep making jokes about that, I'm leaving the conversation. If you keep pressuring me, I'm going to end the call. If you show up late again without telling me, I'm not waiting. Then follow through, calmly. Not as revenge, not as drama, as information. You are teaching people how access to you works. And the people who benefit from weak boundaries will act offended when your boundaries get stronger. That does not mean you are wrong. It means the discount expired. So yes, manipulation can look like guilt, silence, love, confusion, comparison, pressure, fake victimhood, or a sudden emotional courtroom where somehow you are on trial for noticing bad behavior. But most manipulation has the same weakness. It needs you rushed, emotional, confused, isolated, or desperate for approval. Slow down. Write things down. Ask direct questions. Talk to people you trust. Watch actions over words. And remember, you do not have to win every argument to protect yourself. Sometimes you just have to stop playing the game. Subscribe before someone tries to guilt trip you into liking the video.